So I wrote down some things that we accomplished or things that we went through in 2023, and then some things that I'm hopeful for 2024. And I'm not really wanting abundance of material things per se. This past year is also when we started our back porch chat and preserved a good bit of food this year, more than I have ever before. 2024 is I want to grow and preserve even more food. And I feel pretty confident in saying that that will happen very soon, that there'll be a cookbook out that's available. Good Lord willing. Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to sit down and talk with you about, I guess, let's reflect over 2023 and talk about some things that went on this past year, and then talk to you about some of my goals and my hopes and things that I have planned for 2024. I've done one of these videos the last couple of years, and it's fun to go back and look on them and see kind of what I was thinking, see what happened over the year, because you know, when I filmed it, I didn't know what was going to happen, and then looking back on it and seeing how the year went, it's really fun. So I wanted to do this, and maybe it will give you some ideas as well, get you thinking about some things that you may want to accomplish or work on in your life in 2024. I've never really been one to make New Year's resolutions per se. I do think that the new year is a great time where things feel really fresh and we kind of think about what's to come in the next year. But I'm also really big on, if you feel convicted to make a change or set a new goal to do something, whether it's January, June, December, to do it. But the new year does feel very fresh, and it feels like a good time to sit down and think about these things. Something I have done for, oh goodness, the last several years is a word for the year. That's something that I started doing, praying about and asking God to put a word on my heart that I could focus on through the year. It's been things like freedom, where we worked on reducing our debt, getting free from some of that debt, getting free from added stress and anxiety, and just kind of spent my year with that word in the back of my mind. Create was one of my words, where I wanted to really focus on creating memories as a family, being more creative myself and expressing my creativity. I think that's probably the year that I started YouTube, if I remember correct. So just words like that I kind of just keep in the back of my mind throughout the year. I pray and ask God to put a word on my heart, and then I just keep that word with me through the year. And focusing on it a little bit through the year helps you create new habits. I still find myself doing things that have come from those years where I was focusing on other words. It just really helps give you a shift in the way you think about things, helps you create new habits. And so this year, and what I've done is, y'all, I've got my planner out, and I've made me some notes over here in it. And the very first thing is my word for this year. The word that I kept coming back to as I was praying about it and thinking about it was abundance. And I'm not really wanting abundance of material things per se, but abundance of the things that the Lord has in store for us. I want to really seek His will for my life this year and the path that He has for me. I want to be even more intentional than I ever have been. And I want the things that He wants for us to come in abundance. The memories that we make, the time that we spend as a family, the food that we grow. I just want what He has for us to come in abundance this year. And I really want to focus on grabbing hold of those things that He has for me, and then letting Him bless me abundantly this year. Letting Him bless my family abundantly this year. So I wrote down some things that we accomplished or things that we went through in 2023, and then some things that I'm hopeful for 2024. And I thought it would be fun to just chat and talk about some of those things and give you an idea of what we have planned for this upcoming year. The very first thing that I wrote as I was reflecting on 2023 was Fletcher's first year. He was born right at the end of 2022. So I feel like 2023 was his, the year was his first year. We experienced all those firsts with him, watch him grow. That change from newborn through that first year, oh, they changed so much. And just thinking back on that and all that we got to see him do this past year, all of our children, I went back and looked at some pictures from the very beginning of the year and just how much they've changed, how much they've grown. It was a blessed year getting to watch our family grow. This past year is also when we started our back porch chats. That day, sitting on that porch trying to get that video done that I was trying to edit, and I was just having all of those problems, and looking back on it and knowing that that was God saying, I have something else planned for you. I want you to just sit down, very unedited, just talk to the person on the other side of the camera. I mean, I do that anyway, but it was just this place of him wanting me to be very raw with my emotions and how I was feeling that day, and allowing me to connect with y'all on a deeper level because of that. And back porch chats were born, and what a blessing that has been to my life this last year, and I hope it has been to you all as well. I also put down that we grew and preserved a good bit of food this year, more than I have ever before. And that's something that I have written down as growth for 2024, is I want to grow and preserve even more food. We had bigger garden spaces this past year. We put up more. I had to go and search for extra canning jars and things because we were preserving more food. Something I want to do in 2024 is preserve more dry goods. I wrote that down. That's on my list of things that I really would like to see us push for this year, is preserving more dry goods. I want to get some 5-gallon buckets, some food grade buckets, and just have those dry goods on stock as well, instead of buying them, I guess, in smaller portions. Go ahead and bulk up on some of those things. That's something I want to push for this year. And because we grew more food, we were able to cut our grocery budget this year. Now, thinking back on it, I spent about the same amount in groceries this year as I did, or in 2023, as I did in 2022. But we added an extra family member this year. Fletcher was born, and my grocery budget includes household items as well. So we were adding diapers and formula and wipes and laundry soap and bath soap and all of these things for an extra person, and baby food and things. And so to keep our budget, and inflation, I don't have to tell y'all about that, but to have spent the same amount and added another person to our family, and I just feel like we did really well this past year. And I'm hopeful that as we push to preserve more food and to grow more food in the upcoming year, that we'll be able to cut that even more. But that's something I was really proud about looking back on 2023. We worked on some things around our homestead in 2023. We put our front porch on our home. We added chicken coops. We added a lot of chickens to our bunch. We built that, or Justin built that beautiful chicken tractor that we're using, and we did our meat birds in that this year. We added more chickens to what will be our laying flock, and so we added a lot of chickens to our homestead this year. And I feel like in 2023, as far as putting like meat in the freezer, chicken in the freezer, we did much better. I feel like we learned a lot, and that whole experience as we put meat in the freezer during 2023, I feel like it just went so much more smoothly, and we had a better grasp on it this past year. I have a whole playlist dedicated to chickens here on this channel. I'll link it down in the description box, whether you're interested in baby chicks and what that looks like, or feeding our chickens, what we feed our chickens, our meat birds. There's videos on that. So I'll make sure that all of that is down in the description box for you, that playlist, so you can go check it out. I'll put that back porch chat playlist down there as well. I've already talked about wanting, again, I'm just kind of looking at my list here. I've already talked about wanting to grow and preserve even more food this year, really bulk up on our dry goods and continue to cut down our grocery bill every month. Grocery slash home good type things. And then we're looking to hopefully add bees to our homestead this year. I've talked about that a little bit in some videos here and there, and people have asked about, you know, other animals that we might add to our homestead. Bees are up on the list. I'm doing all of my research and making sure that that's something that will fit well on our homestead and with our family. But that's the plan, is to add bees this spring. And I would also like to do our own hogs, our own pigs for meat. I have gone back and forth on that over the years, whether we get meat from a local farmer here or we raise it ourselves. And I even put a little question mark beside where I wrote that here. But it's something that I would really, really like to do. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Justin has also already started working on a new coop for the chickens. Y'all, it is huge. And he's doing a really good job on it. And we're going to combine. So right now our chickens are kind of in separate coops. So we're going to work on integrating that flock together. And they'll have one big, huge, long run and one big chicken coop. That's something that I am so excited for. And like I said, he's doing a really good job on it. And I can't wait to see how that turns out. Last year when I did this video, I mentioned a cookbook. And I got started on that. It's a lot of work. And I also want to make sure that I'm very intentional about it. Sharing the recipes that are really special to me. I want to get recipes and incorporate recipes from other people in my family. And so I've been doing that. I've been working on that. And I feel pretty confident in saying that that will happen very soon. That there'll be a cookbook out that's available. Good Lord willing. Let's say that. Good Lord willing, a cookbook will be out very soon. I'm confident in that, unless God has other plans. But that's something that I actually started working on this past year. And it's been a lot. But I'm so excited to see that come together and be available, because it's going to be something special. Sharing all of those old recipes, old family recipes, the things that I remember cooking in the kitchen with my mama, the things that I love when my mama cooks them, and just other family members, things that I can remember, different candies and things that I can remember eating on holidays and things over the years, some canning recipes. It's going to be good, if I do say so myself. Kind of going back to plans around our homestead for this year, the front of the house I've put off doing a whole lot too, even like with the front porch. So we added this past year. We started on the back. We did a back porch when we first moved in and worked on getting our chickens and our garden spaces and all of those things done in the back, because that's where we spend most of the time. It's the things that were most practical for us. And then this year I want to focus on I start to call it a flower bed across the front. Maybe I should call it a garden bed across the front. We've actually got, did I mention this? I think I did. That we're going to add some extra garden spaces this year. We've got an extra garden space planned for the back as well. But across the front, I want to put in, I want to have some flowers, but I also want to have medicinal plants. I want to maybe incorporate some berries. We've already put, this past year we put some blackberries on the corner of the house. And I want to make that space a really special space when it comes to not only being attractive and giving curb appeal, but also being functional and maybe even like a medicine garden. Which brings me to, I want to be intentional this year about being, I guess, consistent on vitamin intake and what my body needs, and listening to what my body needs, and focusing on natural medicine and natural vitamins, things that my body needs in a natural form. Because while I've always, I don't want to say always done that, but done that for many years, my consistency has slacked here and there. I'll be real consistent about it, and then life gets busy for a season or something and I'm not as consistent about it, maybe I don't pay as much attention to what my body is telling me it needs. This year, I'm going to be consistent with that. I will. And that new garden space that I was telling you about, we want to do more. The things that worked well for us this past year, we want to do more of it this year, like potatoes and onions and garlic and winter squash, tomatoes. We want to do more of those things that worked well for us this past year. So that's the plan with adding that extra garden space. We also did flowers for the first time this past year. Cut flowers. We've always planted flowers here and there, but we did a lot of cut flowers this year. And we also did several wildflower spaces, which we hope that some of those will kind of regenerate themselves this year from the seeds that are left behind. But I want to do more of that because that was so fun. I didn't know that I would enjoy that as much as I did. It really attracted a lot of pollinators and it was just fun and beautiful. The next thing that I have written down is I want to get back to my cleaning rotation. This is something that I've done in the past and it's worked well for me. It's actually on my to-do list for today to sit down and work out how I want that to look in this home. What I've done in the past is I've written it all down, laminated the sheet and put it up on the refrigerator, and I had each day separated out and really focusing on one room a day or one area of my home a day. Now there's those things that I have to do every day, like sweeping and wiping down counters and those kinds of things, laundry. But for our size family, you have to do laundry every day. But then there were rooms that I would focus on each day of the week. And then even breaking it down to certain days of the month that I would do the things that I, like more deep cleaning things that I only had to do every so often. And so that's actually on my to-do list for today, is to make my new list of what I want that to look like here in this home and get back to that because it worked so well for me. As things have gotten busy, like moving into this new home, welcoming 2 little ones within the last 2 years, I fell off of it. But I know how well it worked for me, and so I want to get back to that. And then the last thing is going back to an envelope system for budgeting. That's another one of those things that worked well for us in the past, and I kind of just fell off of it. We have learned to budget just knowing this is what we need to spend on this each month. This is what we can spend on this. This is what we can spend on extra things, and just kind of knowing that in our mind and sticking to a budget that way. But there are certain things that I found worked better for us when we had an envelope system, whether it was saving up for a project or like money we would spend in concession stands at ball games. There are certain things that I know work better for us when I put that money in cash in an envelope and we budget that way. And so I think I'm going to get back to that in certain areas, having our envelopes and budgeting that way. It may not be across the board for all of our areas that we budget, but for the things that I know that worked best, I'd like to do that again. While 2023 was a year that brought us a lot of happiness and joy and blessings and memories, there was also tough times. We had some struggles, whether it be within like our personal life or things like our fall garden not doing as well as we wanted it to. And moving into 2024, I want to be very realistic about those things and have a heart that is full of joy through the ups and the downs and looks at things through, I guess, a lens of thankfulness and just being realistic about the fact that we're going to have highs, we're going to have lows. That's the world that we live in, but God is good through it all. And that's what I've been thinking of as I've reflected back on 2023 and kind of thought about what's to come in the new year. Do y'all do words for the year? If so, I would love to know what your word for this year is, or maybe some goals that you've set for yourself. I pray that God blesses us all abundantly in the upcoming year. I love you. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see what's in store for me and for you. Thank you for being here and being a part of it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.